So we are here for day 11 of the Paralympics recap for 2026 Milan Cortina. So we had 2 runs of the women's slalom, the vision impaired staying in the singing categories. We also had the mixed 4x2.5 kilometer relay, in the open 4x2.5 kilometer relay. The classification rounds 7 in through 8. Final 7 and 8. We also had the slalom. 2 runs of the slalom in this, like I said, vision impaired, staying, then sing for the women. And then we had the mixed team gold medal currently the mixed team. So let's go talk about them. Let's do the mixed 4x2.5 meter relay. So we had 10 teams, and you had to have a factor 335 factored in. So if you were a female, you got minus points of 100. You minus some, and then if you're a sitter, you minus some, or standard or vision impaired. You're so much, based off your factor, like class, your sitter, or your factor, like your LW1, or versus LW10. So kind of what they did, or your category, considering standing vision impaired. So United States got gold with 24.2. We had Joshua Sweeney first. Then second was Oksana Masters. Then Sydney Pearson and Jake Andikoff. And Sydney Pearson was the standing one. And then you had Jake Andikoff with the standing vision impaired. You'd have a sitting, standing, and a vision impaired. If you had up to 4, if you had 3 athletes, you had to do that, or 4, you had to do that. Some countries only did 2, but they did 5 kilometers each, So, and this is a factor of 335, and you have to have 1 female athlete, but the United States did 2 females. So a lot of countries did 2 females, and Ukraine finished second, China in third, Germany 4th, Canada 5th, Russian Federation 6th, Brazil 7th, Japan 8th, Belarus 9th, and Sweden finished 10th. And the open is more laxed. They don't have where you have to have vision impaired, a sitting, a standing, but you have to factor it to 375. So countries, what they did is, and you don't have to have 3 women. 1 woman. You don't have to, but a lot of countries, some countries do not have a woman athlete. This is just a relay where you can do anywhere, but you have to have a factor of 375 though. But China finished first with gold, 21:50, 4.4. Germany silver medal time, 21:59.8. Norway the bronze medal time, 20.6. Ukraine was 2 tenths off the gold bronze medal time, 22:20.8. Kazakhstan 5th, France 6th, Japan 7th, Poland 8th, Canada 10th, Italy, and Czechia did not start. And in the 7th or 8th place, this game for 7th, it was M. Japa with the goal, and with a minute and 31 seconds left in the third, he scores the only goal of the game for Slovakia as they win 1-0. Japan goes winless, I believe. I believe Japan actually went winless in this para ice hockey in the preliminary round. Yes, Japan goes winless in the preliminary round in the group stage, and they go winless in the para ice hockey. And who they played in the classification games, Slovakia wins. Wins twice against Japan, and they win 1-0. So we had the women's alpine skiing, the women's slalom. We had what's your top 5? Veronica Agner finished first, and the Agners do really well in slalom. Both of them are up there, the men, for the the brother and sister. We have Veronica Agner. She's an AS3. Eric DeGruber. Finished with the guide 122.73. She's an AS3. And then Elena Story. She's an AS2. 4.04 back. And then in second with Soar. And then her guide is Stefan Winter. And then Alexander School from Slovakia. Finished third, 9.2%. Matthias Duris is his guide. Is her guide. And then Martina Vasa, fourth from Italy. And Nina Sabadusi is his guide, 9.32 back. And then Manna Fitzpatrick, 12.94 cents back from Great Britain. And all for second through is fifth place are ES2s. And Meg Gustafson's an ES4. And her guide is Spencer Gustafson. The brother-sister duo. The sister competes in the Paralympics. The brother is the guide, which is awesome. I love that, I love that. And we have the stand. This is Varvara Ranachenko from Russia, and LW682, 126.95, 100% factor. L Zhu Winjing, LW92, 86.58% factor, 1 minute, 1.49 cents back. And then from China, Michaela Gosselin, LW6/81, 2.24 cents back. From Canada, 94.70% factor in third. And then an LW92, E6.58 factor 10. So Zhang Minku, 2.46 in back. And fifth is Adruli Richard, LW6/82, 2.52 cents back. Man. And the stunner of the day, Ebba Arshjo. She skis out on that, and she was the final competitor to go. And they did it to where, like, the fastest times, the slowest times went near the end, and the fast times went in the beginning. The slowest times went in the beginning, and the fast times went at the end of the second run, and then the fast times usually went in the beginning of the first run, the slower times went at the end of the first run. That's kind of how it went. That's how they did it. And she skied out on one of the final gates. She tried to save it. She tried to send it through this, the second run. And she just about had to, but she skied out. And, wow, that was a stunner in that one. The favorite, the gold medal favorite, skied out on the very end, near the very end, one of the last gates. And then the sitting saw. And then the sitting, we had Zhang Wenjing, and LW12 from China, 127.16, LW11, Net Tiraventina from Finland, sorry for pronouncing these names in Probium, in second. And then Audrey Pasco-Sico, she finished third, LW12-2, and she was surprised. That was surprising that she finished in third, because she was the leader after the first run in, was a favorite for gold. And Elena Forster in fourth with LW12-1 with 4.43 cents back. And then Lou Satam, LW12-2 from China, fifth with 2.9 cents back. Then it gets 9.32, 9.9. And then the 20s and 30 cents back. So that's the people who, So. And then in the wheelchair current, we had a mixed team. Gold medal game. And it was China-Canada. Canada went undefeated in round robin play. In the 10 teams, they went 9-0. China went 8-1. The only loss was to Canada. So China, they won the gold medals in mixed. They're only two countries to win since mixed team wheelchair curling was a thing in the 2016 Olympics in Italy. Canada won 2006, 2010, 2014 wheelchair curling mixed team gold. And China won in 2018, 2022. They're trying to win the third straight, trying to revenge their loss and win their second time. Because sometimes you lose the first one, you win the second one, against the team. And that sometimes, But let's see. So Canada had last stone draw. And let's start this first. Canada had there's a blank in the first. No, then China. Canada saw that hammer. Canada got 1 in the second. China got 1 in the third. 1 in the fourth for Canada. And 1 in the fifth for China. And then 1 in the sixth for Canada. 1 in the seventh for China. And then 1 in the eighth for Canada. Now this was a very interesting game. China shot 41 draws, 62%. 23 shots, 73%. 64 shots, 66%. And Canada had 31, 6 draws, 51%. And then 9 takeouts, so 27%. Takeout, 76%. 60 shots, 60%. The only one that was a little bit lacking was Jay Thurston, Vice Cup. He was 7 draws, 36%. But takeouts were 9 for 16, is better. And then China, Shen Jay, he had 16 draws, 44%. But takeout, or for the game, 16 shots, 44% for the game. 6 takeouts, 42%. And 10 draws, 40%. So, not the most efficient, but China and the United States were just playing takebacks. We're playing the takeout game. And that's what they love to play. They love to play the takeout game. Force each team, each side, both the sides, to China and Canada. They love to force each other to have takeouts, play takeouts, and then they're trying to play. And if they throw a guard, usually it was like a miss shot. Or sometimes they would mix up the strategy and throw a guard, just be sneaky and throw a guard. Mix up the strategy a little bit. And maybe try to play for 1. Both teams would try to play for 1, with last hammer. And then Canada was blanked in the first. Maybe it was intentional. It could have been, but it worked out for them. But what happened was, there's no measuring in wheelchair in curling until the final end. Till the final shot has been thrown of that end. And Canada didn't know if they were shot rock or not. It looked like on the when I saw watching it live, looked like Canada was shot rock and they have like the world feed announcers, but they allow you, but the Olympic broadcasting services allow you to overlay your own announcers, like if you have your own country's announcers, which a lot of them do, you have like U.S. Announcers, which are typically are announcers that they have like a play-by-play, and from the United States that works for that network, or that works either for that network or just to fill in from like another network. Like they have some, I know they have some from like low-ranking ones from like ESPN, like that one, like some that there's that can't remember. There's like women's volleyball, college softball. One's college volleyball, one's college basketball, one's college softball. It's not like the big games, but like there's some like other games and like Sundays. Might go up to like the Sweet 16, or right before the women's World Series for softball or volleyball. The big games. Can't think of his name right now. But they have some from other networks, or ones that don't work just for NBC, They have some that are for the Olympics, Maybe from that might do coverage of of the sport on the Olympics, at the Olympics, like coverage of that for like curling, say for multiple networks, or curling for multiple streaming services, or they do this sport's on. We have rights to this sport, we'll use the world feed, or we'll use our announcers that normally cover like say cross country skiing. They also bring in you have your country's Olympic athletes a lot of times too. Like your country, might have a U.S. say, like the only athlete in say U.S. history to bobsled, or the only cross country skiing gold medalist in say history for a country, or only biathlon gold medalist for a country. Some significance, or U.S. might not have a lot of success in biathlon, but we bring in U.S. biathlete, so it's kind of like U.S. country themed, bring in someone, like a male, female competitor, that does both, that might do both, that does the male and female versions, that's for like Olympics and Paralympics, which, so, yeah, which is nice. But they were saying that they thought Canada was shot rock, and which it looked like Canada was shot rock, but Canada was then supposed to. Then they thought Canada was going to throw it away, and they're like, well, let's not leave it up to a measurement. And they had like 50 some seconds left, and they weren't know if they were shot rock, and they're like, looks like we're shot rock. But I'm not 100% confident. We can go on a measurement, but do I want to risk a measurement? And then undecided. But then finally, with like 3 seconds left on the clock, they had like the shot got thrown before like 3 seconds. The time went 0, and they had like it was thrown, and before the clock fully stopped, they stopped the clock, it would count. But they had time, and either way they were, and they halfway through down there, the Canadian skip Edison said, it's gonna be shot rock. It's gonna be shot rock for sure. Basically, he knew it was gonna be shot rock. He said it's gonna be shot rock, and he was confident that it was gonna be shot rock, and it was. It was on the out. It was halfway in. It was on like the line, a little bit more in the green than China's, but it was still a little bit in the white, and then pushed it all into the green, the 4 foot, and shot rock. And that is a good win. And, you might be able to measure it, but you don't have a chance in and just play a perfect shot. Not have to, that's pretty awesome. And then Italy beats Germany 5-2 in the 5th and 6th game. And then we have Paralympic game, 9 a.m. Italy, 4 Eastern. That was first round of the slalom vision impaired sing. That one's 20-kilometer interval sing. Starts at 4 Eastern, 9 Italy, 9:15 Italy. 4:15 Eastern ends. Then 5:40. Then it got moved. Then it starts at 5:45. It looks like it was moved back a little bit. No. Was it moved back or was it the same? It might have been moved up a little bit. Just a tad moved up. Moved back actually. Actually, I was moved back because it was moved back a little bit. That's 20-kilometer interval short free skiing. And I have 10:45 Eastern. 10:45 in Italy, yeah, 5:45 Eastern, and 6 of the men's, 11 Italy, and the bronze medal game, 12:05 Italy, 7:05 Eastern, and the women's 20-kilometer interval strip free vision appeared is moved to 7:20 Eastern, 12:20 Italy, and 4:30 for the men, 7:30 Eastern, and then 8 Eastern was the men's swim vision appeared, swim second run, and that's at 1 p.m. in Italy, Eastern, and 11:05 a.m. Eastern in Italy, or 11:05 a.m. Eastern too. 4:05 in Italy is the gold medal game of Paris. So cross country has been moved back a little bit. Let me see here. Yep. Because originally supposed to start at 5:20 Eastern, 10:20 Italy to steam. So that's going to move back 20 extra minutes. And the vision impaired was supposed to be at 6:45 a.m. Eastern. Now that has been moved back to 7:20 Eastern. So it's been moved back 35 minutes. So I wonder what they're going to do with the bronze medal final in Saki. Maybe they'll show that instead of the sitting repeat. Maybe. We'll see.